With all of the issues our world faces, it can be hard to believe that there are any new solutions. Yet, the answer may lie in a turn back to more traditional values. Integrating Indigenous knowledge in a scholarly way can create flexible solutions to long term global issues. There are multiple benefits from integrating Indigenous studies in a scholarly setting. Today, I'm covering three standout benefits: the fostering of historical empathy, promotion of deep thinking and other soft skills that can be used in all areas of life, and new ways to expand scientific innovation. UAF's main campus is built on Indigenous land, hence the name Trothieta Campus. Thus, students are offered many opportunities to connect and learn about Indigenous practices, and the university requires students to take at least one class related to Indigenous culture. As a student here, I was curious to learn how to use the many opportunities our university offers in the most effective way. After consulting many scholarly articles and research, I'm going to share what I have learned about how the integration of Indigenous culture can further scientific fields and build soft skills. Indigenous people suffered some of the most horrors in history. Think the Trail of Tears and other massacres of Indigenous peoples. Learning about their experiences is key to preventing similar events from happening to other groups now. Properly educating people on Indigenous history can promote historical empathy. History is told through stories, and stories make us more empathetic to the people suffering currently. This is a concept known as historical empathy, defined by psychology researchers Caroline J. Connor and Taylor Graham. The concept of historical empathy allows people to be aware of history and helps us prevent horrible events from repeating by stressing a need for social justice, which is a form of equity where every individual is offered assistance to ensure they have equal opportunities to exceed in life. Historical empathy allows people to draw comparison with modern events to history and raise awareness. In 2018, researcher Naomi Wolf and others conducted a survey of attitudes toward delivering Indigenous content, which was published by the Higher Research and Education Journal. They found that despite 63% of teachers reporting they cover Indigenous topics in class, 60% of those teachers are afraid that they do not possess enough understanding of Indigenous history to teach it and feel awkward when presenting the topic. This awkwardness has merit because ensuring accurate history is taught is important. Inaccurate history teaching is a form of misinformation and can limit the effectiveness of historical empathy and thinking, especially if only one side of the story is looked at or sources are biased. In the context of empathy, learning about Indigenous culture also fosters the growth of soft skills that can be used in other areas of life. From researcher Tasso Matamua, quote, knowledge matters because it has power. Power to influence how the world is perceived by others, and how meaning is drawn from that perception, end quote. Educating people on Indigenous history gives them additional lenses or perceptions to view the world, promoting a soft skill named metacognition, defined by Salem Press Encyclopedia as the practice of one thinking about their own thinking. This can be a little bit tricky to understand, so I'll go into it a little bit more. We come to thousands of unconscious conclusions every single day, but stopping to think about what influenced your perceptions is metacognition. So, stopping to think, well, why did I perceive this in this way? Could it be related to your past? Could it be the context of the situation itself? Or did something beforehand influence your mood and therefore your perception? That stopping to think is metacognition. Metacognition also promotes the growth of other soft skills, such as deconstructing complex topics, asking insightful questions, and drawing your own conclusions about the world. These skills can be applied outside of a scholarly setting. Learning about Indigenous history and having an open mind to other cultures' practices can be applied to innovate solutions in the sciences. Integrating Indigenous knowledge with modern science can create sustainable solutions to wider issues. According to Inulua Ijuchu, Indigenous methods use a holistic approach to innovation, contrasting modern advancements that often face criticism due to their disproportionate harm to the environment, such as soil erosion, increased chemical input, and a loss of biodiversity. In a study looking to see how permafrost melt affected local fish populations, Ziegler and other researchers worked directly with an Indigenous tribe, allowing the scientists to collect and synthesize data in a way that provided more accurate and usable results. The researchers were able to subvert the fact that local fisheries had no available data on the remote location, by working with the tribe, who provided them an essential understanding of the fish habitats, the impacts of the ice melt on the fish health, and the health of the people who depend on consuming the fish. If the researchers had not worked with the local tribe, their results would not have been as extensive. Jackie Ziegler notes in reference to other scientific data reports, quote, "The omission of indigenous knowledge means that these assessments may not reflect the full extent of the impacts of disturbances," end quote. This practice can be applied to other fields inside and outside of science to have similar results. Education on indigenous culture as a whole benefits society. Incorporating indigenous practices into scholarly work can advance the scientific field in innovative ways and promote growth on an individual level. Accurate teachings about indigenous history combats racism by extending empathy and promoting deep thinking by connecting their history to our modern world. Additionally, the use of indigenous beliefs allows innovation to follow a more sustainable path. These practices can be the key to solving global issues such as climate change, food shortages, and excessive violence. With all this in mind, what solutions do you think could be found by incorporating indigenous practices in society?